Hello boys and girls, today I want to talk about how to find the area of a composite shape when there is not a grid. So when we did this on the geoboards, you had a grid that you could count. But if you look at this, there's no squares. So I can't count the pieces in here. So I'm going to have to use other methods to find the area. The basic idea is still the same, however. I still want to create a set of shapes inside the shape that I know, and then find the area of that. So I've got this L shape, and I'm going to break it into a couple of rectangles. Now I could do it one of two ways. I could break it into here and make one big long rectangle and one smaller rectangle, or I could break it across here and make one big rectangle and one smaller rectangle. I think I'm going to do it this way. It doesn't really matter, but in this case, I'm going to do it this way. So that leaves me with two rectangles. It leaves me with this large rectangle up here, green one. And then it leaves me with this even bigger rectangle down here in the yellow one. So I'm going to find the area of this rectangle and this rectangle, add them together and put them in. Okay, so first one, let's do this one. That's pretty easy. I've got a height of 2 and a base of 10. So the area is equal to the length times the width, or the base times the height. In this case, I have 10 times 2, or 20 centimeters squared. So that's the area of the bigger one. Now I want to look at this one. Now it's tempting to say, okay, it's 9 long, and wait a minute, how wide is it? Well, actually, I have two problems. One, it's not 9 long. It's, in fact, much smaller than 9. It is this long right here. And it is this wide right here. But notice I don't have dimensions on either of those two numbers. There's those two lengths. There's no numbers there. So I'm going to have to use the numbers that I do have to figure out what these two missing numbers are. Well, I know that this whole long thing is 9 centimeters. The whole long thing is 9 centimeters, but I only want part of it. But if I look over here, I notice that, wait a minute, this is also this missing length right here. So if this is 9 centimeters and I have this already being 2 centimeters, it's 2 centimeters to right here, well then what's left over? How much is this long one? Well, I have 9, but I've used up the 2, so this in fact here is 7 centimeters. I can write it over here, 7 centimeters from here to here. So I have to use the lengths that I have and the lengths that are missing, or the lengths that I have on multiple sides to find the lengths that are missing. Okay, let's find this length up here. This one is some amount. I don't know. Well, I do know what this whole length is down here, and I know what this smaller length is right here. So I know that this whole thing is 10 centimeters. So if I were to draw way out here, if I were to finish this out like this would be 10 centimeters. Well, in this case, this missing part is already 6 centimeters because this can just come up to here. And so I've got 10. I've used up 6 of it. That means this part is 4 centimeters. This missing piece is 4 centimeters. So I had this long piece that was 10. I've already used up 6, leaving me with only 4 left over. So this can go away. So now I know the dimensions of this one. It's 7 and 4. So I can say that the area is still the length times the width. In this case, it's equal to 4 times 7, or 28 centimeters squared. So now I've got two areas here. I've got 28 and 20. Now it actually looks like this is bigger, but when you do the math, this ends up being bigger. So don't be fooled by the look of the shape. Only pay attention to the numbers. Okay, so I've got 28, I've got 20. So the area of the big one is equal to 20 centimeters for the small one and 28 centimeters for the big one, or a total of 48 centimeters squared. So again, the idea is the same. Cut it into small pieces, add those pieces together. The difference is now you're going to have to find these missing numbers, and you're going to have to use the numbers on opposite sides to help you find them. Good luck. All right, we're going to try one more here. This time I've got a rectangle and a triangle, and it's fairly obvious where the rectangle and the triangle are because it really looks like there's a rectangle with a triangle sitting on top of it. So, but again, I'm going to need to find the area of my two individual shapes. So I have the rectangle, and I have a triangle. And I need to find the area of those shapes. Now, again, like the last problem, I have some missing dimensions. I don't have any in the rectangle. I've got this length and this length, so I'm going to do that one first. So I've got the area is equal to, in this case, 8 times 5, or 40. So centimeters squared. 40 centimeters squared because the length and the width are 8 and 5. The challenge comes into my triangle. So if you remember the triangle, area equals 1/2 base times height. And in this case, I know what the height is because it's right here. This is the height. And the height is 5. But how much is the base? The base is this right here. And it's a missing number. So I'm going to have to use the numbers that are around it and the number across from it to figure this out. I know that this whole length is 8 centimeters because it's a rectangle. So this base down here is 8, which makes this base up here 8 as well. So if this whole length is 8, and I've used 2, and I've used 1, then I really have 8 minus 2 minus 1, or 5. So this right here is also 5 centimeters because this 5 plus this 2 plus this 1 have to equal this base down here. So I'm going to put the 5 here. And I have, this is going to be a funny number here because 5 times 5 is 25 times 1/2. And half of 25 is 12.5. So the area of the triangle is 12.5 centimeters squared. So now the area of the whole thing is my two shapes put together. 40 centimeters squared plus 12.5 centimeters squared. And that's going to make 52.5 centimeters squared. And that is my final area. So again, find the area of the shape, or break it into shapes, and then find the area of those missing sides. That's the key part, is you're looking for these missing sides, and you need to use the sides across and the numbers around it to help find that missing side.